Okay, so it looks like it's just me and Fred tonight. It's lucky Fred or lucky me. I've asked Fred what he wants to do. He wants to work from cross hands. So we'll go through that section in some detail, not in huge depth, because I was going to do one move a class. We'll just go through the basics of this section and look at the important things. So when you know a move well, which means you know where the weight is, you know where the direction is, you know what the hands are doing. When you're confident with the directions, when you're confident with the structural aspect of the move, the external aspect, you should look for the internal. What does that mean? You should look for the change of the joints. That's the sinking and the releasing, followed by the settling and the rebound. So say we were to do this exercise, just lifting the hands up. The first part of it is the releasing. The releasing, the knees bending, the hips seating, the lower back opening, the chest relaxing and the shoulders dropping to place the elbows. When we get to about here, just a moment away from finishing, finally, without much movement at all, settling. We want to look for the releasing, where there's quite a lot of movement and quite a lot of change, followed by the settling. And the settling is where the body presses into itself and presses onto the ground, and we start to feel that spongy, buoyant feeling as the body falls into itself. It's the last little bit of letting go, and it's where we start to feel the change from the movement of the body to the settling of the body. We want to try and bring that feeling into the movements of the form. So from cross hands, feet parallel, the right hand is on the outside, the wrist cross at the height of the throat, one span, your own span from the body to the elbows. Remember, it's a bigger posture, circular from the back right through to the arms, so all the joints are open. The first movement is we're going to release to the right foot, spiraling into the right foot. Release and settle. Release and settle. Release, settle. In the settling, there's very little external movement. All the external movement is done in the release and the turning. When you turn, make sure you don't move the knee, because if the knee moves, the foot rolls on the ground. Release, settle. The turning occurs in the hip joint opening, not in the knee moving inwards. Don't move the knee inwards. You'll roll the weight onto the inside of the foot. The knee just bends towards the toes, and the turning of the hips is the opening of the hip joint. That movement takes place in the releasing. The knees bend, the hips seat, the lower back opens, the shoulders drop. This is all change and releasing, letting go of the body. And the final little bit of letting go is when the body presses onto the ground, and from there rebounds. So if we do it facing 12 o'clock, nice round posture, dropping onto the right foot, turning, releasing. The knees are bending, the hips are seating, the lower back's opening, the shoulders are dropping, the hands arrive, finally settle. Rebound, throw the left arm out. When the left arm lifts, straight up, just like the beginning of the form, straight out, shoulder dropping, arm pivoting around this point, wrists lifting. Don't throw the shoulders up. The arm comes straight in front of the body, but because the body's turning, it looks like the arm's moving across. It's not. It's staying in front of the body and the body's turning. This is what brings the arm across. The hips turn. The shoulders move with the hips. The arm moves with the shoulders across to this position. Cross hands, dropping onto the right foot. Settle. Lift the left arm and turn. See if you can turn all the way to face 1:30. Keep turning as you sit away from the right hand. The left hand folds into the ear. Keep turning. Now I'm sort of facing 3:00. Draw the toes in and step out to the corner. Moving in. Narrow step to the corner. Finally sink and settle. Rebound. The rebound comes after the settle. Don't hit the ground and push. You need to find the settling. And out of that elastic settling, the rebound comes, which moves the body to the corner. From cross hands. The knees bend, the hips seat, the lower back opens, the shoulders drop. Release. Settle. Rebound. Move to the left foot, still turning. The left hand folding into the ear, the right sitting away from the right hand. Draw the toes along the ground, step out to the corner. Remember, this is a narrow bow stance. Facing 4:30. Settle into the center. In the center, settle. Settle, rebound. Hands turn around the ball, sit back, roll back, sink, release into the center, both knees, both hips, lower back, shoulders, hands touch. Settle and compress, rebound. Sit back, release as you move in, settle, compress, rebound. Sit back, turn, single leg. Draw the foot along the ground. Keep turning, step out to the corner. Remember, this is a narrow bow stance as well. Move in, sink and settle. Sink and release. All the joints change in the release. And then finally, settle, rebound. Let's go from cross hands. Nice upright posture. First part of cross hands is very much like the first loosening exercise, moving to the right foot, sinking, settling, rebound, turning without stopping, turning, without stopping, turning, without stopping, turning, without stopping, turning, without stopping, turning. release, sink, settle, rebound. Release into the center, settle, compress, rebound. Turning, turning, clockwise, holding the ball, hands on the center line of the body. Narrow stance. Release, compress or settle, rebound. Fred, can I have a look, please, from the cross hands? And if there's anything in that you want to ask about, please do. Otherwise, I'll just have a look. Start again. First movement is onto the right leg. When you drop, you're moving onto the right leg, turning anti-clockwise. No, it's not press yet. It's embrace tiger, return to mountain first off. Have a look. Have a look. The first movement, just have a look first. The first movement is dropping onto my right leg, turning anti-clockwise. The first movement is dropping onto your right leg, turning anti-clockwise. So now I was facing 12 o'clock. First move, now I'm facing 11 o'clock. I'm going to turn and lift the left hand. Now I'm facing 1 o'clock. Sit back onto the left foot. Now I'm turning to face 3 o'clock. Step to 4:30. As I move in, the hands are in this position. This is a ball that I'm offering to the corner. My right hand is parallel to my right thigh. My left hand is on top. Before we've had a ball this way, this is a ball this way, offering to the corner. And I turn a little bit further towards 5 o'clock with a rebound from the back foot. Then the hands turn around the ball. As I turn back to 4:30, I sit back, roll back, press, sit back, and push. Then single whip to face 10. Let's have a look. From cross hands, we're going to drop onto the right leg, turning to 11 o'clock. So you're going into press there, Fred. You want to be going into this posture, which is offering the ball to the corner. Offering the ball to the corner. So don't go here straight into press. Offer the ball to the corner. Then the hands roll around the ball. Then you do roll back, and then you go into press. So the first movement is embrace tiger, return to mountain, which is this one. Yeah. And this is facing 4:30. And as the waist turns, you turn to 5 o'clock. As you turn back, your hands turn over. So your right hand at the bottom is now at the top. And you do roll back. Press. Sit back and push. Move in, push. Leave the fingers behind, sit back and single whip. Okay, have a look at single whip. From the push position, leave the fingers exactly where they are and sit back. The hands flatten. They were at 45 degrees. As you sit back, the hands flatten. But the fingers, if you look at where the fingers are in line with the curtains behind, when you sit back, they stay where they are. They don't move with you away from the curtain. They stay where they are, and you leave them behind. The arms elongate. So the hands are in front of the body. When you turn, they stay in front of the body. So the turning, sit away from the hands, turn, move on to the right foot and continue the turn. So you sit onto the left foot, turn anti-clockwise, continue turning anti-clockwise while you move on to the right foot. So now all my weighted finishes in the right foot. Let's do that one move together. I'll do it facing the curtain so you can see. Sit back. Now my weight's on the left foot. Turn. Move the right toes in. Keep turning as you move your weight onto the right foot, pivoting on the ball of the left. In the form, you start off facing 4:30. You turn, facing 1:30. Keep turning, facing 12 o'clock. No weight in the left foot. From the movement of the left hand is to come up to the wrist. So the movement of the left hand comes up a ball. You can imagine a ball here. The hand comes up to meet the right wrist. Once the hand's in that position, it falls into the posture of push. From there, it falls into the posture of push. This movement from here is a relaxing of the shoulder and the elbow. And the hand, it's as if the hand is sliding off something into that posture. So to get into that posture, I'm here. I turn and lift the left hand as if it's coming up. When I step, I keep it in front of the center of the chest. And when I'm ready to sink the body and settle, the shoulder goes with it and the hand turns over. So the turning over of the hand is connected to the sinking of the body. Finally, the settling and the rebound to expand into both hands. So for the push to work, you need the body to be connected. If you move the hand into position independently, it's not connected to your changes in your body. So your body sinking into posture, releasing into posture, same as this move in the form. Everything connected, coordinated, and synchronized together. When you move into this posture, it's the same. You're sinking, you're releasing, and you're connecting into that posture. So by the time you get here, the body's connected. When it's connected, you can let it compress onto the ground, settle, and rebound. Body needs to compress a little bit before it can rebound. It needs to be connected before it can compress. So to connect the body, bend the knees, seat the hips, open the lower back, soften the shoulders, exactly the same as we do in this posture when we start the form. So single whip starts from the push, drop the fingers, sit away from them, turn, turn, turn. Turn back, scoop the left hand underneath, holding the hook, hands on line at the center of the body. Turn and lift the left hand to the right wrist, draw in the left toes, step to the corner. Left hand moves in the center of the body, turn, sink, settle, rebound. Okay, have a go. Let me have a look. From the push into single web. Sit back from the fingertips. Turn. Turn. From the push, you sit back, you turn. Keep the hands level to the ground as you turn. One turn. Pass the weight to the right foot, keep turning. Now all my weight's 100% on the right. Turn back, drop the left hand underneath and make a hook. Turn and lift the left fingers up the outside of the ball. Draw in the left toes, step with the left foot, move in. Square to the direction of the front foot, compress or settle and rebound. Okay, any questions, Fred? Okay, you'll have to unmute if you want to ask any, because I can't hear you. You're all right. Okay, good. There's your movements are a little bit different from what I'm doing, in that you miss out. I don't think you miss out, but you do a kind of a quicker version of, you do a quicker version of what I'm doing, a smaller version. And I don't know if that's learning with Jean and Dave or learning with Patrick or what, but in a way it doesn't matter. What's important is to get the principles in. What's important is to get the principles there. The principles have to be that the body is organized in such a way that it can flow downwards. That means the knees, the ankle, the feet can soften onto the ground, the knees bend, the hips seat, the lower back opens, the chest softens. These changes of the joints allow you to fall away from the crown of the head. They're not changes that bring the head lower. They're changes that drop your center into your legs. This elongates the spine rather than just lowering the body. It's not about lowering the body. It's about something inside the body changing, taking the tension away from the legs so the muscles in the legs soften. That allows the weight of the center of the body to fill the legs. In doing so, the lower back opens, the pelvis rotates, giving space for the shoulder blades to drop and the shoulders to connect. We're looking to find a connection in the body. The body's to move into a connected position. When the body's connected, we can let go finally to compress onto the ground to let the rebound come back through. If you miss the connection and the body's held, the only thing you can do is push the force out. We want the force to rebound, which means the body has to be more stretchy, more elastic. So to get the body into that position, we have to have the postures a little bit more accurate so that you can allow the changes to melt through the body. Compress, connect, and expand. If you rush the movements and push the hand out, you're jumping to the push before the forces that make the hand push come from the stage before that. If you just go into a posture and then expand, you miss out on the quality of connecting. First connect, then compress, then expand. You have to feel these things. You have to first release, connect, compress, expand. The simple exercises make it much more easy to feel these things. The simple exercises of simply standing shoulder width. When you drop, all the joints change, which allows the body to connect. When the body's connected, one more letting go lets it press onto the ground. Settle. From the settling, rebound. You have to encourage the body not to rush through the form and do the movements. You have to encourage the principles of sinking and settling, followed by compression, followed by rebound. Okay, if you gloss over those, your movements will come from an external posture of doing the push with your muscles, with your contraction. And where we want it to come from is a letting go, compressing and rebounding. And so there's quite a few stages involved in finding the Taiji. Doesn't come from, it's like the analogy I like to use is the Newton's cradle, where you have, you know, the balls, silver balls hanging on strings. They have to be touching. Each of those balls has to be touching the previous one very, very lightly. Light enough to move and swing and be free to move, but to get the kinetic force to pass through, just lightly touching. Now, body's exactly the same. If we're holding it too tight, those forces aren't going to pass through like water. Those forces are going to get blocked. If the body's disconnected or held to apart from itself, that's like the balls being held apart and the force isn't going to reach through the balls. But when the body's sunk and connected, this is the equivalent to having each part of the body lightly touching the part below it. And then the force from the ground can pass through each of those movable parts of the body. As the force comes through, each part lightly changes to channel the force through to the fingertips. It's not a static thing like the Newton's cradle, where the balls are solid. Each of those joints is fluid and can allow the force to come through it. So the first stage is taking enough tension away from the body to allow it to be lightly upright in a posture. The posture should be as if a wind would blow through the room, the body would sway. This is what we're looking for in each posture. So when you do the form, when you come into the push position, for instance, you should ask yourself, how loose is my body? Does it feel like it's hanging from the ceiling? Does it feel as if a wind would blow through the room, the body would sway? Am I continually making small adjustments to organize and arrange and stabilize and loosen and let go. Because if you're strong or held, or the body feels very light, it's not right. You need to sink through the body, settle the body onto the feet, let the muscles go, let the weight of the body, like gravity, have your body, and let it find the feet. That's the first stage of letting go. When you do that, you'll find the joints all change downwards. When you do that, your body will connect. And from the connection, the next stage is to find the light compression, which is a settling process. From being connected, sink and settle. I can't explain what settling is, but I can explain what you'll feel. And what you'll feel is the difference between, if you put your hands together like that, if you push one into the other, you'll feel what your foot feels like when it's pressed onto the ground. Put the whole flat of the hand together, push one into the other. First it touches and it's a very light connection. Then it increases in pressure. That's what settling feels like. And it feels like your feet are molded into and under the ground. And the rest of your body comes down on top of that and gives you stability while you're still relaxed. You don't want to find your stability by holding on. You want to find your stability by letting go. And out of that, the body compresses and expands as your intention goes forward. Okay, so I would suggest the moves you know really well. I know you've been practicing a long time, but I would suggest the moves you know really well, you work with this idea. You work with looking for a quietening down and an organization of your body that allows you to let go more into each posture. And out of that, see what you can find. Don't make the push happen at the end. The more you make the push happen, the more you do the hand movements, the more you take yourself away from being able to find what we're looking for in Tai Chi. And the really nice thing about Tai Chi is the feeling of it, which what makes me want to practice. You know, it's like, what if it feels soft and letting go and spongy, then kind of all the more reason to try and find it and do it. If it's just about getting it right or just about doing it, I'm not that interested. There's too many other things to do in life. But if it's about the feel of it, then that feel stays with me throughout the day. And at different times in the day, when maybe I'm standing up, washing up at the sink, just let go again. There's the melting down, there's the pressing onto the ground. Or if I'm just standing up, having a cup of tea, I can let the weight of the cup of tea press my feet onto the ground. Just that small extra half pound of weight, you can feel how it affects your body and it presses you into your feet. And then the times between your practice and these moments in the day where you're just reconnecting with this feeling get smaller and smaller. And your practice lasts the whole day. As your awareness comes back to your body, comes back to the letting go, comes back to that place in yourself where you release. So your practice links to the time you've got to do Tai Chi, because your Tai Chi then is becoming into your daily life. So it's important not to just do the moves, because then you're too busy. Basically, if you're doing the moves, you need to find emptiness Out of emptiness comes fullness. Taiji principle. Out of letting go comes activity. If you're active the whole time, you don't allow space for the passivity. You need to find the extremes of letting go to then find what comes out of the letting go. So your form should be the place where you can analyze these things. Your form should be the place you can look at these things. Every posture gives an opportunity for the principles of letting go from the crown of the head, letting the body connect, letting the body press onto the ground. Every single posture gives, whether you're on one leg, whether you're on two legs, bow stance or single-legged posture, every posture is about coming to a position where the body is so finely tuned that you can just let it go and wait and see what comes next. Rather than going into the next move, you put your body so lightly held, just like lightly holding a circle, lightly soften your body into a position and wait and see how it presses onto the ground and how the rebound comes through. And what you'll start to notice is any place in your body where you're holding on too much inhibits that rebound, inhibits the changes we're looking for. And that way you start to notice in yourself what you need to change, what you can let go of, what you can soften, and you start to develop an awareness that makes you feel your body more and more and more, become more in tune with it, quieting down into the practice with it. So, do you have any thoughts or questions, Fred?
What I used to do is I would take the rebound as the start of the next, that's the start of the next movement, rather than rebound and then start. I would take, right, you're coming up, so you're move straight in. So it tends to go through quicker. I don't know if that's right or wrong, or I don't know. But what we've done tonight, I think it shows this is what it's all about. Yeah, and single whip, there's a lot of it, but it is very complex. Single whip, it's hard to do.
Yeah, single whip is complex.
Sorry, excuse me.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm busy with my Tai Chi. I'll ring you back later, Kate. Right, okay, right here.
Yeah, every move's quite complicated. That's why it's really nice to have the 5 loosening exercises that have a simple repetition. And even those are complicated. I mean, everything about the human body is complicated. I think your screen's stuck there, Fred. I can't see you moving at all. I don't know if you can hear me. I think I might have lost you. I think I've lost you, Fred. I can't hear you. Oh, gone. Fred's gone. It's just me doing Tai Chi. I will send this to you, and maybe there's something useful in this lesson for you. I will also remind you that there isn't a class next week. Next week is half term. Our next Zoom is on the 7th of June. And between now and then, I will try and send you a video that covers what I would have sent you. Oh, Fred's back. I can't hear you. I think you're on mute, Fred. You disappeared there. I still can't hear you.
Right, I'm unmuted now.
Okay, great. I got you. I got you.
Yes. What I was saying, this was also in push hands. I lift my, I lift myself out.
Yeah.
I don't keep, and this is very difficult sometimes when I'm doing the form. You're not keeping down and in there. You're I have to come back down again, sort of thing. Yeah.
Sure. So what happens when we lift ourselves up like that is that the muscles in the body are going into a contraction to lift us. It can only be a contraction. Yeah. There's no, if our muscles stay loose and relaxed, then the weight of the body will press us onto the ground. So what's happening is we're either getting an over contraction of the muscles, or we're getting a contraction of the muscles that's happening quickly, and we're not able to make adjustments to it.
It's a speed that you throw, you're going so fast at times, and you just throw yourself out instead of.
Yeah. So what do you think might be the solution to that?
Got to keep it in the mind.
Yeah, and what else could you do?
No, it's mind. Keep it in the mind, isn't it? So it's mind. So and also, I suppose slow down. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. This is what was one fault, but I suppose maybe still have it to some extent. As you go through the form, you get faster and faster instead of keeping it down at that speed.
So when we go slowly, the only reason to go slow in Tai Chi, the only reason to go slow is so we can be aware of what's really taking place. Because as soon as you notice yourself up, it's too late to do anything about it, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, they're slow and slow. I don't go very slow as you do sometimes.
Right.
I struggle with that. That's a bit too slow for me.
Okay,
but
sure.
Do it slow, slowish, yes.
Yeah. So slow means if you decide what thing you're going to look at, you need to be aware of that thing the whole time. So say you're doing something simple like your alignment, and you're focusing on your alignment in the form. You want to go at a speed that you can maintain your focus on your upright posture. If you go too fast, your focus might change and you lose it.
Yeah.
If you're focusing on the flat feet on the ground and the foot staying soft and being allowed to press onto the ground, you go to speed where that can be maintained throughout the whole form. And those two forms might be different. A form that's looking at your alignment might be at a completely different speed than the form you need to go out to feel your feet. Yeah. So you choose what you're going to look at. You choose a principle that becomes, you don't do a form that's like a little bit of alignment, a little bit of letting go in the knees, a little bit of your lower back, a little bit of rebound. You don't do a form that jumps around. You just choose one principle and do either a form or a few moves of the form that enable you to really focus on that one thing. And you find a speed you can work at that enables it to stay constantly in your focus.
Yeah.
And then what you're training then is you're training not only that principle, but you're training your mindfulness of that mindfulness as well. You're training your mind to stay with one thing. It's a meditation. It's basically meditation.
Yes, that's right. So that's the big thing, is the meditation side of it. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're going to speed up, it gets much harder to keep that meditation thing going.
Yeah.
So you have to temper the speed to suit what you're looking at.
But I'm trying. Oh, that I know when you first start, you learn each move and so forth. But main thing is you don't stop.
No.
And this
No,
is
you shouldn't stop.
This is so it's keeping from the transfer from one move to the next, just to keep the body and the mind going through.
Yeah, it should be continuous. One of the major principles is continuation of movement.
Yeah.
And the principles fit together like a jigsaw. You don't have one overlaying the other or blocking the other. They all fit together like a jigsaw. So being upright, being continuous, being loose, they all fit together, so one doesn't interrupt the other.
Yeah.
And you can separate them all out and train each principle separately, and then you put them back together again and analyze how they work together in the body. If you go too fast, you'll blur everything.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes about the movements and getting the postures in the right sequence. The lowest common denominator kicks in when you go too fast. So I would say go slow that feels comfortable. Don't go too slow if it feels wrong or uncomfortable, but just go a little bit slower, so you've got a chance to ask yourself, are my shoulders softening into this posture, or am I holding them? Am I fully able to let go of the weight of my arm in this posture, or am I still holding on to it? Am I letting my body stack up onto the feet, or am I feeling my legs holding myself off the ground? So you've got a real chance to make changes, to feel what you're doing, and then make a deliberate change, heading more towards the principles we're looking at. Yeah.
Good. Right. So thank you.
Okay.
I
think we're probably at the end of our class.
Yeah.
I think you've got plenty there to look at.
Yes, I hope what we've talked about helps other people as well to understand.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I'll send it out to everybody, because I'm talking to you, but I'm actually talking about the whole of Taiji in itself, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
So I hope it'll be useful for other people as well.
Okay.
Good. I'll see you on the 7th of June. Have a good half term. Have a good couple of weeks. Enjoy this good weather we're having.
So, right, 7th of June, right? I'll try and remember that.
Okay, I'll send you an email anyway, Fred.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks a lot.
Right.